If you've ever walked into a garden centre in spring and you've seen they've got beautiful established cut flower seedlings that are just ready to plant out, it's because they're sowing them a little bit earlier than spring. In this video, I'm going to show you my process for starting my spring seeds and seedlings. You definitely don't need any fancy equipment to get started. I just have a few handy tips for you that might help things like your germination and your care for your seedlings as well that I'll let you know throughout this video. If you're new here, hi, I'm Ellie and I'm a cut flower grower here in New Zealand. I grow and sell my flowers wholesale and also make up bouquets and sell those from my house as well. I love growing flowers and I love sharing bouquet recipes, the flower varieties that I'm growing, as well as growing tips and learnings as well. As a general rule, you can start your spring flowers about 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost. So the first thing that you need to do is figure out when your last frost date is and then work your way back 6 to 8 weeks from there. Here in Taupo, New Zealand, my last frost date is round the start of October, so I'm going to work 8 weeks back from there, which takes me to next week here in Taupo. We're also getting over 10 hours of daylight here in New Zealand now. We're getting about, I think it's about 10 and a half hours we're on right now as I make this video. Seedlings are going to appreciate those longer daylight hours, and if you try to sow earlier than that, growth is just going to be super slow. And that's all right for a lot of flowers. I have sown some of those cold hardy flowers earlier. But really for those ones that appreciate warmth and the nice long days, it's great to wait until you've got at least those 10 hours of daylight to start sowing your seeds. There's a few different ways I am sowing my seeds at the moment. I am sowing in trays, I am direct sowing a few flowers, and I'm also taking cuttings. If we talk about the seeds that I'm direct sowing at the moment, we've got Persian cress, nigella, larkspur, and cornflower. If you are going to give direct sowing a go, it's just really important that you make sure that those seeds don't dry out and also that you protect from the birds. With my nigella, larkspur and cornflower, I've always had more success when they've had a little bit of darkness to germinate. So when I direct sow these, I am actually going to cover them with a little bit of soil. So all I'm going to do is just make a very shallow little trench along there. And I haven't got very many seeds here, but I'm just going to go and then sprinkle them in there. And cover. And already I can see the chickens coming along to see what I've done. So I'm going to put my bird netting back on the top. Now, I was actually a little bit worried about my Persian cress because I went and just chaos sowed them everywhere. And they germinated, and it was about a day after germination we were hit with a -5 frost, and we have had frosts every morning since they've germinated. So I have been checking on those tiny seedlings, but they're doing absolutely fine, which really surprised me. And I thought that's very useful information as well that you guys might want to know, that Persian cress can survive a frost very early on into its growing rate. Typically with your cold hardy flowers, you want them to settle in and grow a nice strong root system before that frost comes along for that plant to be able to survive. But Persian cress is one of those ones that I have direct sown, as well as nigella and larkspur. They've germinated and very early we've had those frosts. So that's very useful for me to know as a grower because it saves a lot of work when you can just direct sow those seeds as well. And now I'm just not going to stress about direct sowing and frosts and that sort of thing coming in and destroying them. I'm also taking feverfew cuttings, which I have a whole separate video on, so I don't want to go into too much detail. But if you've ever struggled to germinate feverfew or macrocarya from seed and you have a plant or you have a friend with a plant, cuttings are the easiest way to grow this flower. And I don't grow from seed anymore with feverfew. I've just found it's too much of a faff. It directs seeds nicely in the garden for me now, which is amazing, but cuttings are also a great way to multiply your plant. I'm now going to pop up on the screen all of the flowers that I'm sowing into cell trays. Sometimes I sow into trays much smaller than this, but because I know that these flowers have at least 8 weeks of having to grow, it just saves me transplanting them from one pot to these. So I'm just going to sow them in these straight away because they're going to need quite a big cell to grow on in because they've got to grow for that longer period of time in these before I can plant them out. You can save money by picking these up from your garden centre. I know here locally we've got a big recycle centre where people pop their pots in that they don't use anymore, so you can go and pick those up, or even just using old yogurt pots. Anything you've got around the house is great. Just make sure you've got the drainage holes in the bottom. Using a potting mix that you know is going to be weed-free, I've also found is very, very helpful, because the worst thing that can happen is your seeds start to germinate and you're not sure if they are weeds or what you've actually sown. So make sure you buy a nice reputable potting mix. I have found this one's good. I also like the Tui potting mix. Just pick up whatever's on sale. Sowing your seeds, it's important to do a little bit of research into each variety. I'm going to show you how I sow the majority of my seeds, which is using a plastic tub method. Now this works for seeds that like those warmer temperatures to germinate, so around that 18 to 22 degrees. If I went and popped seeds in that liked cool to germinate in those tubs, they're not going to do anything because it's just going to be too warm for them. So it's important when you're sowing a new variety or a variety that you haven't grown before, just to check that germination temperature and to see if this tub method is going to work for the flowers that you've got. Another important thing to do is to check your light requirements for your seeds. So most of the seeds that I sow require light to germinate, so I just sow them on top of the potting mix and sometimes just go over with a very light covering of vermiculite, which can help reduce the mold, which I have found particularly useful if you are starting your seeds quite early on like I am, just to prevent that mold from growing. And it also helps retain moisture later on when the weather warms up as well. However, some seeds do require darkness to germinate, like phlox, for example. So if I went to surface sow those seeds, pop them in my tub, I wouldn't have germination again because they require darkness to germinate. So just that little bit of research into each variety you're sowing can really help your chances of success. This is the very low-tech setup that I have to start the majority of my seedlings, and all it is a plastic tub which keeps the humidity within this growing chamber nice and high, which the seeds will really enjoy to germinate. And I've popped it under a windowsill so it's got nice bright light where it is. And I sowed these seeds around about a week ago. And I can see I've got some scabiosa here which are germinating nicely. Now, whilst this is in a nice bright space, it needs a little bit more light than where it is on the floor. So I'm going to move this outdoors to my greenhouse just because it's got more light. But if you wanted to, you could just pop them on a windowsill just up there. As long as it's a nice and bright windowsill, they'll be totally fine. I can see here that my straw flower is starting to germinate as well. So I'll wait until a few more have popped up and then I'll do the same and move these out to the greenhouse as well. With all of these seedlings, I tend to bottom water, so I just put a little bit of water in the bottom of the tray. You don't want too much. And then when the lid is on, the water stays within the tub, so I don't have to water too often. Another thing that you can do is mist spray your seedlings, so you can get a mist bottle and just spray over the top every other day or so. But I found with the bottom watering, actually now it's not super necessary to even have a mist sprayer. Once your seedlings have germinated, if you have used the tub method, it's really then important to make sure they're getting enough light. Now, I have a greenhouse, so when my seedlings have germinated in their tub, I'm going to bring them out here because it's nice, light and bright, and they're protected from any frosts we might get. If you don't have a greenhouse, you don't need to worry. A nice sunny windowsill will work fine. Just make sure they really are getting enough light through there. If you start to see the stems growing very tall and very thin and weak, it's because your plants don't have enough light. And this is what we call a seedling getting leggy. And it's just not going to produce a strong plant. So light is really important at this stage, especially when you're sowing early, and those seedlings are going to have to grow on in that environment for a while before we can plant them out. Another thing that can be really useful is bottom watering. So these trays I just picked up from my $2 shop. They were very cheap. And I like bottom watering because I found it reduces the chances of rot, and it can also decrease the chances of pests as well. So I like to just pop a little bit of water in the bottom there, and then the plants can access those as they like. Now, whilst there are some flowers that I'm starting now, there are a few that I'm definitely still waiting for. And they are the likes of zinnia, cosmos, and my sunflowers. They just really like growing in those warmer temperatures. I know even in early spring, it's just going to be that little bit too early for them to be going out. So I'm going to hold off on sowing those, and particularly with my sunflowers, I grow the Pro Cut variety, and they are very, very quick from seed to flower. I think it's around 60 days for that flower. So I know now it's just way too soon because we still might get a frost into October, and I couldn't protect a large crop like sunflowers if we did get a frost, so I'm going to hold back on sowing those. And the same with zinnia, they like the soil to be really, really, really warm to grow the way they should, so I'm going to hold back on sowing my zinnia as well. I really hope you found this video useful. I can't wait to see all your gardens in spring. It's just going to be so beautiful. If you have found anything useful in this video, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. I can't wait to have flowers back again in spring and summer, and I'm going to do a lot more videos on bouquet recipes, how I harvest my flowers, how I sell my flowers. I'm going to be trialing a roadside flower stand this year, which I haven't done before. It's going to be something new, so I can't wait to show you all of my learnings and my journey around that as well. I will see you next time. Oh, it's such a beautiful day.